All right, hey everybody. I'm not by myself today. I have a special guest here. This is the one and only Carl Cox, my good friend. I did a review of his album a couple weeks ago, Philly Strut, and Carl was gracious enough not only to do an interview with me, like a hang, but we're actually at his house. Yeah,
Mi casa.
Yeah, because we live kind of close together. So everybody, round of applause, Carl Cox. Yeah, there he is. There he is.
Jerry Deloche,
Oh,
the one
man.
and only amazing saxophonist too. Don't let him fool you.
All right, so
Great player.
that's enough of that. All right, so just before I get to any questions, just a reminder, go support Carl. This album, Philly Strut, it's worth a listen. But let me little news dropped after the album came out too, and I had told you that Carl's an unbelievable teacher as well for over 20 years in a local school district. But Carl was just named the New Jersey Jazz Educator of the Year for 2025 by NJAJE.
Yeah,
so
pretty cool.
Really pretty amazing. So again, Carl Cox. All right, here we go. Talk to me about the album, man. Philly Strut.
I feel like I should have paid you for that introduction, man. We're going out to dinner. Ruth Chris is afterwards.
Nice.
Oh me, right. Yeah, so the album was just released a couple weeks ago, and it's going for radio for the single. The Philly Strut's going for radio August 18th with my promoter, and so we're going to go for Billboard National Radio, and we're gonna see what happens, and hopefully it'll take with radio and do its thing.
That's awesome. So talk to me a little bit about, and tell the people a little bit about like all the different styles that are on the album, like why people would dig this album, because it's in the smooth jazz genre, but as I had said before, it's way more than that as far as I'm concerned. So like describe writing process, tunes, why people would dig it.
Right. So the title is the Philly Strut. So the reason behind that was because I'm a University of the Arts graduate. And I had the good fortune of going there and being supported by my parents. And, a lot of people were going there that were great players at the time. As you know, you were in Temple. So, like, Philly was such a rich environment for us to kind of really explore avenues to be expressive, in our art form. So, I remember taking the 30th Street Station, and I still take it. So that's a track on the tune, on the album. And, Blow the Whistle is like kind of an ode to our Eagles.
Nice.
The brotherly shove.
Nice, go
And
Birds.
it's like Blow the Whistle, and it's got a little rap in there, and it's like real fun. So it's all elements of, that culture that we experienced and had the opportunity to walk around Broad Street and experience the live music at Chris's Jazz Cafe and all these things that were happening. And it was just kind of cool to see everybody now that, we've graduated in year 2000. So 25 years now.
Yeah.
All that stuff and that rich environment really kind of seeped in and stayed with me. So I wanted to pay tribute to, our city.
Nice.
So that's kind of like where it all came from. And my good friend, producer, Chris Big Dog Davis, as you know, Grammy nominated twice in the genre, came up with this theme with me. And, we came up with some tracks, and I wrote all the melodies, all the harmonies, and we tried to make it fun where you could explore a little bit of jazz vocabulary and our roots and throw that in a little bit when you can, even though it's smooth jazz, but find time to really kind of throw some of those elements back in, kind of like David Sanborn did.
Yeah.
And like of course, his vocabulary is extensive with jazz and trying to mold the two together.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why, maybe one of the biggest reasons why I love this album is because it's not just smooth jazz. Like there's some depth in the jazz lines that are played and the jazz harmony that's used, and I really love that because it's still true to the smooth jazz genre,
Right.
But to me, it's a little bit deeper.
And that's what the goal was. So
yeah.
I'm glad it came across because, you're an expert. and a fellow amazing saxophonist. So to hear that means a lot to me because that's kind of like what the goal was, is to not just be the same cookie cutter sound. We wanted to kind of pay a tribute to, the background of my roots, but also kind of, do a little flair with some vocabulary and, let the listeners hear some other things, So I thought it was well done, and I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome. So it's on all streaming platforms. But you also have an album release party.
Oh yeah,
up again.
yeah.
Where is that for anybody that's local in the Northeast Philadelphia area, New Jersey, New York? Even if you want to fly in from California, I mean, good night. It's going to be a great night, I'm sure.
So it's going to be at South Jazz Restaurant, which is actually on Broad Street. So coincidentally, it's all kind of intertwined together. So South Jazz, September 4th, 2 sets, 6 and 9. And coincidentally, I wrote a song called Brotherly Love. I don't know if you know this. I don't think I told you this, but it's kind of funny. But a friend of mine from Florida sent me a track. And he says, I think you would really love this track. So I listened to it, and I immediately put it on record, and I recorded it over here, sent it back, and he says, this is it. You can have that song. You did your thing on the song. You can have it. And I said, I want to call it Brotherly Love because it fits the theme
nice
of the city. And coincidentally, they're flying up from Florida to come to the CD release, and support. And he might come in and play a little piano. And,
oh, that's amazing.
So it's kind of a cool thing. We just met, and we only met through my buddy Chris Big Dog Davis.
Right.
He was kind of like the pioneer for that. And it just turned out. So a week before my release, I got my good friend Craig and Pete Humphreys, who used to work at Sigma Sound, and did Grover Washington Jr.'s albums and recorded all that. Yeah. So he mastered all of it, and they rushed it in for me to get this last track on. So
amazing,
pretty cool,
yeah,
kind of fun,
That's amazing. All right, so we talked about the album a little bit, but this is what everybody wants to know, man. Because everybody tunes into YouTube for gear. For gear. So, the gear acquisition syndrome. So, I know that you're endorsed by a couple of companies. Talk about who you're endorsed by, and then if you could just lay out your gear on the tenor, that would be awesome. All right.
So, for our sax nerds,
right here.
As you know, I love this mouthpiece right here. This is an Aaron Drake FG model. It's named after the Freddie Gregory model, which he was really famous for. Everybody was playing. I think it's amazing. It does everything. I mean, it does jazz. It does straight ahead. It does funk, R&B. It's smooth jazz. And I think it's really a versatile piece on tenor. So if you're looking for something that does everything, well, I think you can really mold your sound to this. The other thing is Legere. I use Legere. And some guys are... they're not really into the synthetic thing yet, but I just found my life to be way less of a hassle if I can manipulate these and work on them a little. So I have a Legere, there you go. Legere on there. This is a 2.5 American cut Legere, and I find that this one really works well with this mouthpiece. So that's my mouthpiece setup, and then this is my trusty, faithful girl here, Mark 6. This is somewhere around a 66, 135K serial number.
Now, I'm going to interject for a second. I have played this horn. This is an absolute beast of a 6. I've talked about before on the channel that not all 6s are created equal. Like I had one for 20 years and it was only an okay one. This is a beast of a 6. This is like a once in a lifetime horn.
Yeah, I got lucky with that one, man. Yeah. I found it in an old music store, Black Horse Music.
Oh, wow.
And this guy, Ron, owned it.
Yeah.
And one day he called me and he goes, hey, Carl, I think I got this horn from my buddy. He plays in church like once a year. And it was under his bed. And he goes, I think you might like this. So I came in as soon as I played it. I said, hey, Mom and Dad, can I get a loan from you guys? I need a loan. I need to get this. So that's the guy I've been playing for a while.
Nice. Yeah. What do you play on alto?
So alto, I have it in the case. That's like a V16 S Plus.
Okay.
I use that, and then I use a Legere American cut on that too.
Right. So that V16, that'd be a Van Doren mouthpiece with a little gold ring around the end.
Yep. I put like a slight little modification of like nail polish in there to kind of get a little more.
Oh wow.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
I'm a little bit of a nerd.
Nice. And then the horn alto is more...
That's a Mark 6, a later one though.
Okay.
That's like a 70.
Okay.
1970, yeah.
And then what do you use on soprano?
Soprano is an old Yamaha that I got in 1993, maybe, from my old teacher, Bill Garden.
Yep, okay.
And he found it and he goes, Carl, this is a cream puff. This is going to be your soprano.
Nice.
So I bought it and I've been playing it ever since. I never...
Fully straight?
straight soprano.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Mouthpiece?
it has the modified neck where it's either curved or straight,
Oh, okay.
and you can like take it off.
Oh, nice.
And the mouthpiece is C Winds metal
Okay.
that I use on it and plays really good.
Yeah.
So I don't really mess with that one too much.
Yeah. What's the track on the Philly Strut? It's like the third track you're playing soprano, right? Which one is
So
that?
that one is so soprano on the track is This Time Only.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful track. Like if you want to hear just a wonderful soprano sound, check that track out on the album. It's fantastic. All right, so Carl, obviously Carl is a great saxophonist that's maybe more well known in the smooth jazz genre.
Yeah.
But Carl's an unbelievable straight ahead player too, like just amazing. So how as a saxophone player do you balance going between these different genres? Because you do them all really well.
That's a good question. A master of all trades is really hard. It's really tough to do, you know. So for me, I mean, every genre has its like little thing that you need to work on. Everything has its vocabulary. So if I'm playing straight ahead, I really need to be on top of my horn. Scales, you know, superimposing things, doing like alternate dominants, you know, really trying to play the pedagogy and, you know, guide tones and a lot of things that really are necessary for that style. So I would say majority of my time, I'm really trying to master that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I can master that, going back to smooth jazz, it doesn't mean you'll be good at it, but I'll at least have the facility to do what I want to do. You know, so smooth jazz it's a transition because I have to kind of put a lot of that aside and really focus on rhythm, my sound, my concept, like more bluesy, more feel, more rhythmic stuff and tone and try to fit that genre. It doesn't mean that's more simple. It just means that it's different. Mm-hmm. So I can't really do all that stuff that I want to do in this jazz idiom straight ahead, let's say, versus trying to include all of that into smooth jazz. But what I try to do in the album is try to merge the two at times where it's still accessible to the average listener, but also a saxophonist who understands, or a musician who understands jazz can say, oh, I heard that little diminished thing in there, you know, I heard this little 2/5 lick, you know, and you can kind of introduce the two. And a lot of players have done that already. Mm-hmm. I mean, like Grover Washington Jr. and David Sanborn, like I said, but I wanted to keep that because I didn't hear that enough in a lot of radio. And I kind of wanted to merge the two a little bit.
Yeah, well, thinking along those lines, so if you only had to name one player in the smooth jazz genre that was the most influential for you.
Oh, God.
And maybe it's not even in the smooth jazz genre, but the one that maybe influenced you the most in the smooth jazz genre.
Well, I mean, this might become to a surprise, but one of the first albums I got from Bill Garton, one of my great teachers, he said, you have to get Gerald Albright's Live at Birdland West.
Fantastic.
Yeah. That was the first album that I was like, whoa, okay, what's going on here? And he had, you know, Georgia on My Mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely destroyed it, you know. So that was more of a straight ahead album for him. Mm-hmm. And then that's how I kind of started listening. Of course, my good friend Najee, who we became friends with, Walter Beasley, all these guys all had that element in their playing, and they're amazing, you know, jazz players all around, you know, both genres, you know, smooth jazz, straight ahead, they can do both. So they started getting introduced to me after that, and then I started kind of getting into more of that element.
Yeah.
And then I started getting into Michael Brecker, and that started getting me more involved in the things, and that's kind of how I started with Bill's, you know, recommendations. That's kind of where I really was like, okay, that's kind of how I want to do it.
Nice.
You know. Yeah.
Nice. So last question: Desert Island album. Yeah. Would you have one?
Ooh.
You only get one.
One album, man. That's tough.
For the rest of your life.
Oh man, one album. Jeez. I just anything the early Michael Breckers.
There you go. I was thinking the same thing.
The early Michael Brecker had so much in it, you know, like Nothing Personal, you know, all that stuff, all that whole thing just kind of moved me the most.
Yeah.
Maybe because of my early days when I was 16.
Yeah.
And that was where I just started listening to like somebody who could do it all. You know, you amazing tone, amazing technique, amazing feel, and it was just all just in one spot.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, Michael, you know, he was really an inspiration. So
Yeah,
I would, anything by his early stuff, you know, I think was really my passion, you know.
Yeah, and I would totally agree. Like people that are our age, you cannot get around the Michael Brecker, David Sanborn influence.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Right.
Their sounds were everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, 80s and 90s, even early 2000s, it was really like that was a big push.
That's when
sound wise. And I think that, you know, our sounds definitely developed with that. We were very knowledgeable about that sound specifically. So that really informed our playing. But yeah, all right. So what we're going to do at this point is I'm going to turn the camera off and then we're going to turn it back on and the two of us are going to play. And I think you're going to hear a little difference we're both playing Drake FG7s.
Yeah.
So Aaron, yo man, good job by you, Aaron Drake. So all right, we'll be right back. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, nice.
Killing. Carl Cox.